like to call the meeting to order and acknowledge that we are in Treaty 1 territory, the home and traditional lands of the Anishinaabe, Ojibwe, Innu, Cree, and Dakota peoples, and the national homeland of the Red River Métis. Our drinking water comes from Shoal Lake 40 First Nations in Treaty 3 territory. I'll introduce the panel members first. I'm Marcel Larondo. I'll be chairing. Jerry Arnell and Diane Knight are here by Zoom. The assessor today is Arif Dushamed. Close. Our recording secretary today is Belen Rojo. We'll be hearing applications for revision of assessment roll in accordance with the Municipal Act. The matters for which revision is requested have been described in each application. We will limit the discussion to those matters. The statements that are made at this hearing are sworn testimony. Anyone speaking to the matter must be sworn in. Be advised that comparisons of assessment of properties are not considered evidence of market value by the Board of Revision. The Board of Revision is appointed annually by Council and is independent of it and the City Administration. It makes its decisions on the basis of the evidence provided at this hearing and issues a written order that will be mailed to all parties as soon as possible. Please note that the board's decision with respect to an application may be appealed to the Manitoba Municipal Board if the matter pertains to assessed value or classification, or the Court of King's Bench if the matter pertains to the application of exemption from taxation. Should you wish to appeal, information on how to do so will be included with the board order. With respect to the hearing process, I will confirm the points of appeal with your property to be addressed with each applicant following the swearing in. We will then have the assessor's testimony, followed by questions that the applicant may have, and then the applicant's testimony followed by questions. Each side will have the opportunity to summarize if they wish. Once all the evidence about an application has been brought forward, the applicant may leave. The process will repeat for each item on the docket today, and the session will close after the applications have been heard, and the board will deliberate in private and make its decisions. You will receive the board's decision by registered mail as soon as possible. As information, all public hearings are live streamed, recorded, and will be part of the public record. We'll be hearing items 2 through 5. All others have been dealt with. If you can, Madam Rojo, you could affirm the assessor and the applicant's testimony, please.
Mr. Assessor, please state your full name.
Arif Dushamed.
And you affirm the evidence you're about to present is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you. Mr. Applicant, please state your full name.
Marcelo Navarro.
And you affirm the evidence you're about to present is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
And we'll be starting with item 2, 30 Midland. It's just quantum, is that correct?
Correct.
Mr. Assessor, if you would start, please.
Good morning, everybody. Board Revision file number 22-1353. Roll number is 1300-1662100. Address is 30 Midland. Roll year is 2023. Reference date is April 1st, 2021. Assessed value is $2,532,000. Parcel use is industrial warehouse. Number of buildings is 3. Number of premises is 1. Number of stories is 1. Actual year built ranges from 1914 to 1980. Effective year built is 1956. Wall heights range from 15 feet to 22 feet. Zoning is M3 manufacturing heavy. Land area is approximately 64,000 square feet. Plan area is approximately 42,000 square feet. Basement area is 14,299 square feet. Gross floor area and leasable area are both 56,181 square feet. Land to plan area is 1.53 to 1. On the following page, you'll note that the subject last sold April 1st, 2008, exactly 13 years prior to the current reference date, in the amount of $1,650,000. So if you turn to my appendix, page 1, there's the map of the subject. It's located.
Sorry, what page is that? Sorry.
Appendix 1.
What page on the presentation?
Appendix page 1, after the brief, the regular brief.
There's
I'll look it
another,
up right now.
we don't have it yet, do we?
Yeah, it's
I think he means page 8.
Thank you.
Roll where? Eight. Well, the appendix is down there.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Carry
Okay,
on.
thank you.
So there's a map of the subject property. It's located in the northwest quadrant. Below that is the subject aerial view. On page 2 is the, the aerial view is on page 2. Subject parcel boundaries are on the bottom of appendix page 1. And then on page appendix 3 is the street views of the subject property. Page 4 has the building section, so you'll note that the wall heights range from 15 feet. There's one building that's building section 2 is 15 feet. All the others are 17 feet or higher. On a page appendix 5 is the income and expense mailer that was mailed in. On page 6 is the tenant roll. And then on page 7 is the COVID supplemental questionnaire. You'll note that they're indicating it was a minor impact from the pandemic. Page 9 is the subject listing from September 2020. And the listing continues all the way to page 13. You'll note on page 12, the asking advertised rent is $7.25 per square foot. So going back to my comparables on page 2 of the actual brief. So you note that all comparables are industrial storage warehouse properties such as the subject are located in the same St. James industrial market as the subject. All leases are current in relation to the reference date. Effective year built ranges from 1952 to 1969. Average wall heights range from 14 feet to 18 feet. Leasable areas range in different intervals from 1,000 square feet to approximately 31,000 square feet in a similar fashion to the subject in order to compare the different leasable areas available in the subject. Net rents range from $4.29 per square foot to $8.78 per square foot. On the following page is our workup. So we're utilizing an overall net rental rate of $4.69 per square foot. We're utilizing a 15% site-specific vacancy rate. We're utilizing 3% for non-recoverable expenses and $3.85 per vacancy shortfall. And I know everybody's heard our non-recoverable expense studies and shortfall studies, so I'm not even going to go into that. So this results in a NOI of $184,809. We're utilizing a cap rate of 7.3%. This results in a rounded capitalized value and assessed value of $2,532,000. On my appendix page 17, I have some external industry reports. So you note on page 17, I have a Colliers Industrial Market Report from Q4 2020. They're indicating that the Winnipeg industrial sector closed 2020 with strong fundamentals. They're indicating that the fourth quarter closed with low vacancy. Asking rents were increasing at a rate of 2%. At the bottom of that page, you'll note they're indicating that they're seeing that 2021 is expected to remain active, just like the Q4 2020. And then on page appendix 22, there's the Q1 2021 Colliers Industrial Market Report, and they're indicating that 2021 started with the same momentum that they saw in Q4 2020. Demand for warehouse space and industrial buildings continues to be strong despite the effects of the pandemic. Down at the bottom, they're indicating the market continues to be strong. There's low vacancy, stable growth rental rates, and strong demand. And then on page appendix page 32 or 23, sorry, you'll note that they're also indicating Collier's cap rate study is indicating that demand for good quality industrial property has increased, and this has caused cap rates to decrease Q1 2021. And also similarly with CBRE on pages 25 and 26, they're noting that cap rates have decreased, that there's an increase in good industrial market properties. So, given the strong state of the Winnipeg industrial market over the last number of years and the strong forecast for the foreseeable future, including the 2008 sale of the subject property 13 years prior to the reference date, I believe that the assessed value of $2,532,000 to be fair and equitable, and I respectfully ask that the board confirm this value. And I'm open to questions.
Marcello, any questions?
Yes, I do have a few questions. First of all, the Collier's rental comparison that you, or advertisement that you included in your brief. When is that from?
For the subject,
Yeah,
that would be September 2022 is when we downloaded that.
so so that would be after the reference date, correct?
Reference date is April 1st, 2021.
And you downloaded it in 2022?
No, September 2020.
Oh, September 2020. Okay. Now, in terms of the advertisement itself, that is just an advertisement. You're willing to admit that?
It's the listing brochure.
So it's an asking rent, not an actual rent.
No, but that's what they were asking, so I'm assuming that's market.
So there's no negotiations involved in a rent?
I'm just saying this is what the brochure says as a asking rate. I'm not sure if there is negotiations or not, but this is what they were advertising.
Okay, so let's be clear. That was just an advertisement then?
Correct, yes.
Okay. Now, in terms of your rental rate, you have, you're aware that there is a basement, you've noted it, and you've applied a low rent to that basement, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Now, do you know where that section of the basement is?
I do know, and I have not inspected the
Okay.
building.
But you do note that it is valued at a much lower rate, correct?
Yes, there would have been a field inspection, but it wasn't me that was there, so I
Okay.
don't know where it is.
Okay, so you have also a space of 28,104 square feet. We have this very same space. Your model has applied a rent of $5.58 to that. And to the next space, which is 14,519, the model has applied $5.76. And the model is splitting these up, correct? Based on the sizes of these areas, correct?
It would have split them up according to the parameters, the quality of each premise, etc.
Okay. Now, in terms of the capitalization rate, that is the capitalization rate that the model chose?
Yes.
Okay, so you've had, basically, you have not adjusted this valuation in any way. This is just the modeled valuation, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Now, in terms of your capitalization rate information, now we'll acknowledge that there have been some increases in the market outlook for certain types of properties, including logistics and warehousing. But you mentioned that this was for good assets. Would you consider this a good asset?
It is an investable asset. They are making money on it. It's tenanted out, so I would say it's a good asset.
So in terms of the outlook in the market reports that you're looking at, this is the type of property that you're looking at.
Sorry, could you repeat the question? I'm not sure I understand what you're getting at.
So your market reports point to a certain class of properties that are selling and that are doing quite well in the market. So this is one of those types.
I would say so, yes.
Okay, those are my questions.
Diane, any questions?
I have no questions. Thank you.
Jerry?
No questions, thanks.
Well, we'll ask the question now because it's going to come up after. So on the expenses, do you have any evidence on how you come up with that 3%?
No, we've submitted our market reports prior. I didn't submit it for this hearing.
By prior, you mean?
There's been other hearings where other assessors and myself would have submitted. It's basically our expenses are obtained from the market. So we have income and expense mailers that are mailed out to all industrial property owners. They mail them back. We do statistics on them, and this is how we come up with our shortfall rates, our market caps, our expense rates.
So are you saying that the expenses are a model driven?
The model is the market. So the market data would have been put into the model, and that's what would have been generated.
Okay, thank you. Marcella, on with the presentation.
Sorry, I've got a rough throat today.
Yelling at the bomber again.
Yeah, that's what I was screaming at. Okay, so we have 30 Midland here. I will ask you to go to page 6, and you have the general location near Valor Road. You have a bird's eye view, and then you have exterior views on page 7. So this building, like many other buildings in Winnipeg, evolves over time, and especially in the industrial sector. So you'll find this a lot in older industrial parts of the city, where there was an original portion that was built in 1914 and then added to over time. So there was a second portion that was added in 1976. And I believe there may have been another portion that was added more recently. In terms of the highest and best use on page 8, we are saying that it is the current use. This is still an industrial area, so we still view it as the highest and best use. We wanted to take a look at the cost value of the property. So we have some land sales that are supportive of our land portion of our cost summary. Our replacement cost new is $4,020,548. Depreciation on it is $2,228,837. For replacement cost new less depreciation of $1,791,711. And again, we add the land value to that and come up with a total value of $3,375,319. So obviously we've looked at 2 approaches. And in the appendix, you'll see that I actually included the work for the cost approach. So I'll get to that once I get to the appendix portion. So we've gone with the income approach. We have 3 areas here. One that is 14,519 square feet. We've applied a rent of $6.25 to that. Now you'll note that there was an existing lease on there for $3.50 going from May 16 to April 21. So at $6.25, we are recognizing that there has been an increase in the market. So we've acknowledged it in there. Now we've applied a $3 rent to the basement. And again, I'll note that the assessor applied something, I believe, just below $2 per square foot. In terms of the second area, which is 28,104, there is no lease for that area. That area is vacant. So we've applied a rent of $5 per square foot. And we have a set of comparables there that we've chosen from in terms of developing that rental rate for that space. In terms of vacancy, I don't believe that there's any issue with the vacancy in this report. We're agreeing with the 15% vacancy here. In terms of the shortfall, $3.85, non-recovered expenses, 7%. And this is where we differ with the city in terms of the non-recoverables. So we have presented this case in many cases, but I'll just skim over it very quickly as to why we choose 7% or 5% plus the 2%. So these types of expenses exist in most income producing properties, and they are market driven. So where they're applied, well, in terms of jurisdictions, there's quite a few jurisdictions that actually acknowledge the existence of non-recoverable expenses. MPAC to the east of us, SAMA to the west of us. Even the province of Manitoba actually uses the 5% non-recoverable, and that is the assessment jurisdictions outside of the city of Winnipeg. In terms of the expenses that we're looking at, non-recoverable expenses include a plethora of expenses. I mean, there's things like leasing commissions, free rent, marketing, bank services, mortgage interest, bad debt, owner building maintenance that's non-recoverable, depreciation, utilities for vacant units. There's a whole, as I mentioned, there are many types of non-recoverable expenses. However, the ones that we're looking specifically at are leasing commissions, professional fees, asset management fees, and advertising and marketing. So when we looked at these expenses specifically, we noted that in terms of an average, we were getting an average of 6.64% with no tenant improvements. If we included tenant improvements, they were actually at 10.66. However, we've already stated what we're including in terms of this study. We're not including tenant improvements. So in essence, that is the reason why we include tenant or non-recoverable expenses. Our study shows that it is slightly above 5%, but we've gone with a 5%. We've been fairly consistent with this notion. In cases where, and because we use it in terms of the calculation, when we don't include it, we actually should adjust the calculation itself, either by, well, simply by adjusting the capitalization rate by about 25 points. But we are saying that for most properties, non-recoverable expenses are there in the open marketplace. Now, in terms of the capitalization rate, we've gone with capitalization rate of 7.75, which is outside of our norm. So for Class B properties, they generally fit between the 6.5 to 7.5 range. In this case, there's a host of issues. The main one being is that this is an older industrial building, and it's combined older industrial building, but also in terms of the location, it's not where most high-end properties are selling. So those properties are selling more so in the industrial parks on the outskirts of the city. And if you turn to my capitalization rate report, which I believe you also have.
What page would they be on? In the appendix? Or?
Yeah, if you turn to page 13 of the capitalization rate report. So So we use this map not only to note where. Yeah, sorry, I'll give you some time to actually turn to that capitalization rate or
Go
go back.
back to the folder again.
Yeah, so the cap rate study and they're listed at the top.
Applicants, right here, 2023, right? This one?
Yes,
Okay,
page 13.
everybody's got that now?
Yeah.
Okay,
Coming.
It was, just me that was a little slow.
so
Go ahead.
What page in that report? Sorry.
Page 13 in that report.
okay, so this chart highlights two things. One is that inside Winnipeg, there is basically a shortage of industrial land. And it also highlights where a lot of the activity in terms of development is going on for industrial properties. And as you can see there, it tends to be on the outskirts of the city. Now, inside the city, it tends to be concentrated in the larger industrial parks. So when we speak of investment grade properties, that is where these sales are going on. And again, we've acknowledged right here, we've said it to the assessor that there have been increases in terms of the market for certain types of industrial properties. Those are the more modern warehousing and the logistics type properties. And those are the ones that are selling and being developed in these areas on the outskirts and in the industrial parks. We wouldn't view this area of the subject as typically being one of the better areas in terms of industrial development. It's an older area, just like, the old industrial parts of St. Boniface, some of the industrial areas in North Winnipeg. Actually, I should say more central Winnipeg. And so we've given it a slightly higher capitalization rate. Now, in terms of the value, I'll just quickly turn to that. So if you turn back to the valuation report for 30 Midland, it's on page 23. So based on the income approach that we've used here, we are coming up with an indicated value of $2,355,126. If you turn to the appendix on page 24, we have the property laid out as the way it was constructed. So we have three sections here. And the second section, there's a section that also includes the basement component. So in terms of the replacement cost new, again, as I went over this previously, it is $4,020,548. We've applied depreciation of $2,228,837 and a land value of $583,608 for a total of $3,375,319. The next page over is the specific occupancy code that we're using for this property. So this is a storage warehouse.
And this is on page.
This is on page 27.
Okay.
And the remainder of my presentation includes the income and expense information supplied by the owner. And lastly, on the last page, the building specifications on page 44. And I'm open for questions.
Arif, any questions?
Yes, please. If you turn to your page 22, Mr. Navarro, you have your cap rate range there, and you're indicating that a Class A would be between 6 and 6.5, and Class B between 6.5 and 7.5. And anything that's not there is non-investment grade?
Yes, and I will note that there's also I'll call it a no man's land between the non-investment grade and the class B. So that is between 750 and 8. So the non-investment grade takes off at about 8%, and these tend to be the older heavy industrial properties that are meant towards manufacturing. And of note, we've noted some properties on the assessment side that have gone over 9%. And these tend to be, again, older properties or geared towards manufacturing, and they're slightly older. So this is not them. This is not the subject. We're not saying that it's above 8. We're saying it's slightly above the class B, but still under the non-investment grade.
Okay, if you would turn to the listing, my appendix, page 12 or page 19 of the full brief.
Of your full brief?
Yes, the Collier's brochure on the subject property. Just let me know when you're there.
I'm there.
Okay, so if you read the brochure there, they're indicating that located at 30 Midland Street, the single tenant building is well situated and capable of accommodating a wide variety of commercial uses. The property is in close proximity to downtown, the International Airport, Polo Park, and it has efficient access to major transportation routes. Would you not say that is a good area, and the building is in decent shape to allow for all types of industrial activity?
Well, I'm not going to relinquish my, responsibility here in terms of coming up with a valuation on this property. And I'm certainly not going to pay attention to a simple advertisement. As I mentioned to you initially, I mean, the $7.25 rent on there is just an advertisement. So it's what they think they can achieve, not necessarily what they can achieve, though. There's always a difference between what the advertisement says, the ticket rent, or and what's negotiated in the lease. Now, in terms of how they're marketing the property, I'm not going to criticize them. They're saying what they want to say. I have a difference of opinion with that. So,
okay, and then just a last question on your page 23. You have two different values. Which value are you?
So on page 23, you can see that we've gone with a value of $2,370,000. So we have acknowledged that the income valuation that we had is slightly lower than where we wanted to be in terms of the cost approach. So we did, in this case, we did pay some attention to the cost approach. And that's why we are above our income approach. So we've reconciled the value.
Okay, those are all the questions I have. Thank you.
Diane?
I have no questions, thanks.
Jerry?
Just one on the cost approach you used. Like, were you going average, good, or what were you using as a matrix there? Or did I miss that?
Yeah, so on the first section, which is the original section, 1914, we've gone with the lowest ranking of 1. And for the next sections, you can see that the rank is 2, so that is average.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry, yeah, okay, see it. Thank you.
No, you had,
That's all,
I'm sorry, Jerry, continue.
that's all I had, sorry.
Okay, thank you. You said that the province uses the 5 and 2%.
Yeah.
Is there any evidence that you presented on that?
I haven't presented any provincial briefs, but I have attended the board recently, and I mean, I guess I can verbally say that the 5% was still on there, so.
Do they increase the cap rate when it's not there?
In general, capitalization rates in the rural areas tend to be higher anyways, so I wouldn't be able to tell. So where for an industrial property, we may see 6.5, 6.75 or 7 here inside the city. Outside in the rural areas, we'll see cap rates of 8, 9. So it would be difficult to answer that question.
Question. Give me 1 second. What was on your appendix?
Okay.
Recent industrial sales. It was on page 17, I do believe. That's where you came up with that 8.
Is that
Class B was a 650 to 750. Your examples that you had here.
Oh, on the cap rate report.
Yeah,
Okay.
cap rate report.
Yeah.
We're jumping all over the place here.
Yeah. Okay, I'm just going to turn to it quickly.
Yeah.
What
Okay.
page, Marcel, sorry?
It's on 17 of the cap rate report.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
I'm trying to figure out how you came up with that 7.75 when I'm looking at these other properties at Hutchinson, which is
58 Hutchins is an industrial park. That's Inkster Industrial.
and that's at 6.5, 7.42 on Sherwood.
Yeah.
And then 7.05 on St. James. The only high one was the one on Pacific Industrial at 9.16.
Yeah.
So are you trying to compare it between that? Is that what?
Yeah, I mean, I would take these as just examples of properties that have sold where we've come up with a capitalization rate. In terms of the chart itself, the capitalization rate chart, I mean, a lot of it came from previous cycles where we had capitalization rates established. And then we looked at the market to see exactly what the shift in the market was. So that is how we got the movement of the cap rates. I believe if you look at the previous page, you'll see on page 16 that the previous cycles cap rates. So that's what we used in 2020. So in terms of the non-investment grade properties, you'll see that there's absolutely no change there. In terms of the the B class, you'll see that we've actually shifted it on the low end from 7 to 6.5 and from 7.75 on the high end to 7.50. Okay. And then on the class A, we've again lowered it by 25 points on the low end. And on the high end, we've lowered it by 50 points. So the class A's, again, as I mentioned to the assessor, there's no doubt that there's been a shift in the market in the class A stuff. So this would be the high end stuff, the logistics, the warehousing that were identified in that map that I showed. That is where most of that activity is happening. How I came up with this one, well, I don't believe it to be a class B within this range. I mean, if we wanted to, I guess we could probably say that it's maybe somewhere in at the tail end of the range, so 7.5. But it's a very old property. I don't think it's necessarily in the best area. And these aren't the best industrial areas. It's been proven. I mean, the market is saying that. That's why it's shifting outside. So. But that is one of the reasons we also ran the cost approach on it.
Yeah, and then you took the cost approach and you found it was a little
Low.
different, so then you adjusted
Yeah.
that 2,370,000, which was about $15,000, I guess.
Yeah.
Where would that be reflected in there? On lowering your cap rate?
Well, for example, if I'll just do a quick calculation here.
We're trying to figure out how you, I know it's only $15,000. I'm just wondering
Yeah,
how you snuck it in there.
so if we take the 182,522 net operating income and divide it by like 0.750, that gives me 2,433,000. So that's where we would have been if we had chosen 7.5.
2,453,000
or 33.
or 33.
Yeah. I'll give you the exact.
Yeah.
2,433,626.
$100,000 Okay, I've got no further questions on that. Anything in summation? I'll start with you, Harif.
I'm good, thank you.
Marcello.
Nope, I'm good. Thank you.
Okay, that'll conclude that matter. Shut that down there. Now we're going to move to item number 3. And this one's got 2 points of revision on it. Correct?
Classification liability.
Classification and liability.
Yeah.
And they're standing, challenging them still.
I believe the assessor was going to make a recommendation.
What is it? Yeah.
Yes, I'll just read it into the record.
Read it into the record, everything, please.
Board of Revision file number 22-1752. Roll number is 0708131350. Address is 21 Murray Park Road. Roll year is 2023. Reference date is April 1st, 2021. Assessed value is $2,762,000. So there is one tenant in there that is a school board. So they would be exempt from school tax. So I looked into this and I agree with Marcello. The only thing is I received an email and I looked at it this morning, but I have not had any time to research it. Marcello indicates there's another tenant in there that is a non-charity, or sorry, a nonprofit.
Sorry, Mr. Assessor, you need to speak up. I'm sorry.
Yeah, whenever you turn away from your microphone to read, we're not hearing you clearly.
I'm sorry. So yeah, there's two tenants in there. One tenant I had an opportunity to look into, and yes, there is a school board in there, which should be tax exempt. But Marcello indicates that there is another tenant in there, a nonprofit organization, but I have not had a chance to look into that, so I can't recommend anything on that one. So in regards to the school divisions, I have a workup that I can send to you, Rojo, Belen, sorry,
Okay.
Belen. Can I send you the workup that you?
Yeah, please go ahead.
So you're not going to be dealing with the classification then? Is that what I'm hearing?
Yes, we are. It's going from a 60T to a 40S. So let me just send this first, and then.
Good. Please do.
Okay, you should have it now.
Okay, there it is. Okay, so you have it in your folder.
Are we gonna have to go out and come back in?
No, I will send it to you guys in just a second.
Sending it to you.
Marcel, I believe I sent it to you.
Yeah.
Okay, and it's loaded for your for the OneDrive as well. So if you just refresh the page, it is item 3 ANT recommendation.
Let me know when you got it, guys.
Not yet.
Did you
Refreshing,
refresh?
but it scares me.
Yeah.
It scares me. There goes a whole day's work.
Mm. What's it called here?
Item 3 ANT recommendation.
I still don't see it, Bill.
Ah, I got it.
Okay, I emailed it just in case.
You what did you say?
I emailed it as well.
Okay. Haven't got that either. It'll come.
So Christmas.
Apparently. Okay, I got the email now. All right, I'm good
Okay.
to go.
Arif, go ahead.
Okay, so total leasable area was 32,250, and out of that, the school tenant is using 48,000 or 4,800 square feet. So I have a workup there indicating that a market value of $465,739 dollars should be tax exempt under 40S.
Yes.
And the remaining 27,450 square feet should be under an indicated market value of $2,296,377 under 60T.
Okay. Marcello, you okay with that?
Yes, we will accept that.
Are we accepting that?
Yeah.
Okay, do we have all the information now that we needed? You've got a
so.
copy of that for after?
Yeah,
2 million. Well, we'll have to break it down after, right? Diane will have it.
So 2,296,000 is the one.
Yeah. 2,296,377 is the 60T.
Are we rounding this or are we just leaving it as it is?
2,296,000.
Okay, and then 4,666,000.
And oh, no, 465,000.
Or 466,000, sorry. I'm too many
466,000
dang numbers here.
rounded, and then the rounded number would then be
or 60.
762.
2,062.
Okay.
Rounded. Got all those numbers? Everybody good with that?
Mhm.
Okay, thank you. That'll conclude that matter. We'll deal with it later. We'll move on to item number 4, correct?
Yes,
Item number 4 is 1555 Dublin. Let me know when you guys have got everything.
I'm good to go.
I'm good.
You're good, Brendan? Okay, Arif, when you're ready, if you can read it on.
Okay, thank you. Board Revision file number 22-2529, roll numbers 1300-129-0100, address is 1555 Dublin Avenue. Roll year is 2023, reference date is April 1st, 2021. Assessed value is $2,814. Parcel use is industrial warehouse. Number of buildings is 1. Number of premises is 7. Number of stories is 1. Actually, year built and effective year built are both 1989. Wall height is 22 feet. Zoning is M3 manufacturing heavy. Land area is approximately 67,300 square feet. Plan area is approximately 24,700 square feet. Gross floor area and leasable area are both 24,684 square feet. Land to plan area is 2.73 to 1. And then if you turn to my appendix, page 1, which is right after page 7 in the brief, there's the map of the subject area. It's located in the northwest quadrant of the city. Subject parcel boundaries underneath that. And then on appendix page 2, there's the aerial view of the subject. Same with appendix page 3. Appendix page 4 is the street view of the subject. And I also have a site plan on appendix page 5. And then page 6 is the summary of the building sections. And then on page appendix 7 and 8 is the income workup that the income and expense statement that the applicant mailed in. So you'll note on the tenant roll on page 9 that they are collecting a overall net rent of $6.60. They're collecting it's a triple net, so there's a common area. They're collecting management fees. And they're collecting the tax. And then if you just turn to page 8 of the appendix, you'll note that their net income is indicated as $146,322. And you'll note when I go through my workup that that is higher than our estimate of the net income.
What was that? What was that number you said?
On my page appendix 8,
Yeah,
you'll note that their NOI is 146,322.
yeah, 146, 322, yeah. Okay, sorry, continue.
Yeah, so going back to my page 3 of the main brief. So there's my comparables. So all comparables are industrial flex warehouse properties, such as the subject, and are located in the St. James Industrial Market. All leases are current in relation to the reference date. Effective year built ranges from 1972 to 1988. Average wall heights are 20 feet. Leasable areas range at different intervals from approximately 1,800 square feet to approximately 6,200 square feet. In order to compare the different leasable areas available within the subject, net rents range from $6 per square foot to $9.50 per square foot. The weighted average for the net net rent for the comparables is $7.22 per square foot. So on the following page is our workup. So we're utilizing an overall net rental rate of $6.80 per square foot and a 7% market vacancy rate. We're utilizing 3% for non-recoverable expenses and $3.85 per vacancy shortfall. This results in an NOI of $144,936. Again, it's lower than the actual NOI. We're utilizing cap rate of 5.15%, which is on the higher end of our cap rate study. This results in a rounded capitalized value and assessed value of $2,814,000. So again, given the strong state of the industrial Winnipeg market over the last number of years, the strong forecast for the foreseeable future, so I believe that the assessed value of $2,814,000 to be fair and equitable, and I respectfully ask that the board confirm this value. And I'm open to questions.
Fellow, questions?
Yes. Just to confirm again, this was the model and you had no input in this valuation, correct?
No, I didn't adjust any.
Okay. Okay, so first order of business on your appendix 8. You noted that the net operating income was $146,322.84, which is higher than what you have and which is higher than what we have, correct?
Yes.
So within our calculations, both of us use a set of parameters that we adjust for, which includes vacancy, which includes shortfall, non-recoverable expenses, correct?
Yes.
And none of these issues have been actually adjusted for in this net operating income, correct?
The one provided by the owner, the property owner.
Yes.
Well, they have included actual expenses for insurance. There's been some general sundry administration audit fees.
Sure.
Yeah, and then there's management fees are also in there under their non-recoverables, and yeah.
Okay, but we're not including management fees in this, correct?
They've already included them in their calculation,
No,
and we are taking a percentage or you are taking a percentage, but they've also recovered the management fees, you'll notice.
Right, and that's where we have to distinguish between recoverable management fees and non-recoverable
Yeah,
expenses.
so I don't know why they're in their income expense, they're saying non-recoverable of 10,239 when they have in their income, they've included it as recoverables. So I don't know why they're saying that.
So that would take me actually going into my non-recoverable expense study to actually explain it. But there are some management expenses that are actually not recoverable, as opposed to the recoverable ones that we
Marcello, maybe you could explain that in your presentation.
Yes.
Keep it to the questions right now.
So just to answer your question though, so on page 7, you'll note that they're recovering management fee. Or sorry, on my page 7, appendix 7. You'll note that they're under income, that they're recovering management fees of 10,239.61. And then for some reason on 8, they have it also as non-recoverable expenses of the same amount.
Right. So then they are not recovering, or they're not showing for any type of vacancy allowance or shortfall, correct?
Correct.
Okay. So the 146,322 would actually be lower if we adjusted for that.
Slightly.
Okay. And the rest of the information was pretty much the same information provided in the previous brief, correct?
Yes.
Okay, those are my questions.
Diane, any questions?
I do not.
Jerry?
No, not now, thanks.
And none for me, so let's go on with your presentation.
Okay. 1555 Dublin Street. If you turn to page 6, you can see a picture of it, general location above and a bird's eye view on the bottom. Street view picture on page 7. Again, built in 1989 with a wall height of 22 feet. We've also conducted a cost approach on this property. So we came up with a value of $3,407,26 for the replacement cost new, depreciation of $1,873,864, replacement cost new less depreciation of $1,533,162, land value of $650,000 for a total of $2,183,162. You can see the land comparables that we use there to establish the land value. In terms of the income approach, that begins on page 12. So we are actually using the rents in place, and we believe that those are a good representation of the market rents for a property of this type with this fit and finish and in this location. So $6.88 is the rent that we have for $24,684 and a market rent or potential of $169,817. We also include a set of comparables in terms of lease information as well. In terms of the vacancy, we've gone with a slightly higher vacancy, I believe. No, we have not.
You've gone with 7%, correct?
Yeah. I'm getting ahead of myself. 7%, which is the market vacancy that has been applied, and we are accepting that vacancy. In terms of the shortfall, $3.85 is, I believe, a good shortfall rate for this property. Non-recoverable expenses, we have adjusted for 5% non-recoverable, and then the 2% other expenses. In terms of the capitalization rate, we are using a capitalization rate of 6.50. So that would be at the top end of our B class, which in our opinion makes sense for this type of property. It is a B class building that is the top of our scale. So we've given it the best cap rate. Now, going back to the issue of the non-recoverables and management. So what we're arguing here, I believe, is just semantics. So there are management expenses that are recoverable that are typically shown in the income side of the income and expense reports. And those are recoverable management expenses. Now, there are also a set of non-recoverable, sometimes management expenses that can go along with leasing commissions, tenant improvement allowances, mortgage interest, those types of things. And you can see on page 10 of our study, again, the ones that we've looked at are specifically leasing commissions, professional fees, asset management fees, advertising, and marketing. So the management fees that you're looking at on page, that you were looking at on page, sorry, I'm just getting back to the assessment brief on this one. On page 8, these are the non-recoverable type of management expenses and bad debt that are also included in there. So again, I think this is an issue of semantics here. There are non-recoverable expenses, which are not these. These are there are management expenses that are recoverable, and those are always listed on the income side. So these are not those types of management expenses. These are non-recoverable. And as we noted as well, within this report on page 8, there was no inclusion of vacancy. There was no inclusion of shortfall as well. So this figure would have gone down. So if we turn to page 23 of my report, we get the summary of my income. So again, we've gone with a slightly higher rent than the assessment model, 169,817. 7% vacancy gives us an effective of 157,930. We've applied 385 shortfall to that, 5% for non-recoverables and 2% for other structural, giving us an allowance of 17,707 and a net operating income of 140,222, to which we've applied a 6.5 capitalization rate, giving us an income value of 2,157,267. Now, in this situation, again, we've raised the reconciled value up to 2,170,000, and that is taking into account the influence of the cost approach that we did on it, which was total at $2,183,162. So that is why we increased the value as well. Again, in the appendix, we have the valuation in terms of the summary report. So in terms of the ranking, we gave it a 3, which is above average. Good. It would be ranked as good quality as opposed to just average. You'll see on page 27, again, the the occupancy code description. And then we have beyond that, the income and expenses that were supplied by the owner. So I am open for questions.
Read for questions?
Yes, please. Okay, so this building was built in 1984, and I believe each tenant has a loading door. Is that correct in the back?
These are separate CRUs. So yes, I believe they would have.
So each tenant has a loading space in the back,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, okay. And the land to plan ratio is 2.73 to 1, which is fairly decent, would you say?
I would say it's average.
And it's got high ceilings, clearance, correct? 22 feet is what we said.
Yeah, if you look at my cost, you can see that the height is 22.
So if you turn to my page, Appendix 22, and it's an excerpt from Q4 2020 cap rate report by Colliers. The definition for Class A industrial is a newer building, and it's got HVAC system. So, and you did mention that it's fully 100% HVAC in there. Is that correct?
Yes.
So it's got good loading capacity. There's air conditioning, and there's good yard area for trucks. So wouldn't this be a Class A building then?
No, I mean, that's not where we would put it. We would put it at Class B, at the high point of the Class B.
Well, Class B is usually a building with lower ceiling heights, fewer shipping doors, not good space outside, per Collier's definition.
Well, so what they say is average to good quality industrial buildings, typically somewhat dated construction, which I would say that is. Somewhat less extensive features. These buildings are usually characterized by lower clear heights and fewer shipping doors. But you're also looking at the age of the property, which is 1989, the location, their overall size of the building, the amenities in it. And when you compare it to what we consider Class A properties, I respectfully disagree with you and with Colliers.
And you have a cost report, and that's for Marshall and Swift.
That's correct.
Did you make any adjustments to that report?
What do you mean by adjustments?
Is this the report as it was printed out, or was there any adjustments?
Yeah, this is the report as it was printed out.
And it's okay. Never mind. Okay, those are all the questions I have.
Jerry, do you have any questions?
No, I don't. Thanks.
Diane?
So is Dublin in the St. James Industrial Park?
Correct.
Yes.
And so your examples are showing St. James Industrial Park 7.05 with a 1982. Is that correct? 16-foot height?
Yeah.
Okay, just confirming. Thank you.
And I've got no questions. Anything in summation?
I'm good, thank you.
You're good. Marcello?
Oh, I'm good. Thank you.
You're good. Let's go on to item number 5. Is there any what are we dealing with on this one, for classification or just for Quantum, just quantum, correct?
Should be just valid.
Yes.
Just value? Okay, go ahead and read it on.
Okay, Board of Revision file number 22-3005. Roll number 0700230700. Address is 1741 Wellington Avenue. Roll year is 2023. Reference date is April 1st, 2021. Assessed value is $2,919,000. Parcel use is industrial warehouse. Number of buildings is 2. Number of premises is 4. Number of stories is 1. Actual year built ranges from 1958 to 1974. Effective year is 1963. Wall heights range from 12 feet to 17 feet. Zoning is M2 manufacturing general. Land area is 56,551 square feet. Plan area is 30,648 square feet. Gross floor area is 30,648 square feet. Leasable area is 30,548 square feet. Land to plan area is 1.85 to 1. If you turn to my appendix, page 1, which is right after page 7 of the main brief. Again, there's the map of the subject. It's located in the northwest quadrant of the city. Underneath that is the subject parcel boundaries. And then on page appendix 2 is the subject aerial view. Same with appendix 3 is a different aerial view. And then appendix 4 is the street views of the subject property. And same with on appendix page 5. Appendix page 6 is the breakdown of the building sections. So there's 2 sections. One was built in 1958, and the other one was built in 1974. The 1958 has a 17-foot wall height, whereas the 1974 building has a 12-foot wall height. The following page is the income and expense submission by the applicant. And then on page 8 is the tenant roll. You'll note that they are recovering a net rent of $6.77 per square foot, and it's a triple net rent. Page 9 is the COVID supplemental questionnaire, and you'll note that they've had no impact from the pandemic. So going back to my page 3 of the main brief, there's all my rental comparables. So all comparables are industrial flex warehouse properties such as the subject, and they're all located in the St. James Industrial Market region, as is the subject. All leases are current in relation to the reference date. Effective year built ranges from 1963 to 1972. Wall heights range from 14 feet to 21 feet. Leasable areas range at different intervals from 1,200 square feet to approximately 22,800 square feet in a similar fashion to the subject in order to compare the different leasable areas available in the subject. And net rents range from $6.75 per square foot to $8 per square foot. On the following page is our workup. So we're utilizing an overall net rental rate of $6.81 per square foot. We're utilizing a 7% market vacancy, which has been consistent throughout all the other briefs. You'll note for the St. James market. We're utilizing 3% for non-recoverable expenses and $3.85 per square foot for vacancy shortfall. This results in an NOI of $179,549. We're utilizing a 6.15% cap rate. This results in a rounded capitalized value and assessed value of $2,919,000. So yeah, given the strong state of the industrial market over the last number of years and the forecast for the foreseeable future, I believe that the assessed value of $2,919,000 to be fair and equitable, and I respectfully ask that the board confirm this value. And I'm open to questions.
Marcello, questions?
Again, this is the model, and this is basically the same information that you included for the previous briefs from agents.
External industry reports, yes.
Yes, okay, no question, thank you.
Jerry, any questions?
No, I'm good, thanks.
Diane?
No questions, thank you.
I've got none, so let's move on to your presentation.
Okay, 1741 Wellington Avenue. If you turn to page 6, you can see an overhead picture and bird's eye view, and then the street view picture. So I believe we have an effective age of between 1963 and 1974. The assessors has 1963 as the effective age. Probably come in somewhere in between those numbers if you were really looking at the effective age accurately. In terms of the approaches that we've taken, again, we've used the cost approach as well. So we have a replacement cost new of $3,486,156, depreciation of $2,210,753, replacement cost new of $1,600,403, and land value of $565,510, giving us a total value of $2,165,913. In terms of the income approach, starting on page 12, you can see that we have a rentable area of 31,801 square feet. And we've applied a $6.85 rent to that. So we've used a set of comparables there to account for the areas above that are vacant. And again, we've used a vacancy of, I believe, 7%. We can turn to page 23. And I apologize. No, we did not use 7%. We used 15%. And the reason why is we noted the vacancy in 2019 as being 26.69%. In 2020 as being 31.07%. We've adjusted the vacancy to 15%. Shortfall of 385, management of 5%, 2% other, and we've given it a capitalization rate of 7%, which gives us a value of $2,196,158. In terms of this property, again, it's slightly older. You can argue about what the effective age of it is, but it's probably between 1963 and 1974. So that is the reason that we put a slightly higher vacancy on it. That said, again, the top end of the B class for our properties is 7.50. So we are not there. We're in between. If you turn to page 25, you can see my summary report. And again, with this property, we have effectively two sections. One section is older and one section is newer. If you can look at the effective age, we've adjusted the effective age on the cost approach. So the reasoning behind that is that we don't believe that this is a building that is reflective of 1963. If you walk into it, you're not going to go back to 1963. So over time, most properties are updated, adjusted. They have renovations done to them. They have newer mechanicals that you have to adjust for. And that is the reason we've adjusted for 38 years on section 1. So if we do the math, 3 minus 38, that basically brings it to about 1985. And in terms of the second section, well, it's technically, it's even newer. It's only 30 years old, so. So we've brought it up to an age of about 1990, and we've given it a rank of 3. So again, this is not considered average construction. This is considered good construction. So we're not lowering the asset class by putting in a lower ranking on it. We've given it a good ranking, which means that it, the construction quality is considered good. So again, the replacement cost new is $3,811,156. That's on page 25 at the bottom. Less depreciation brings it down to $1,600,403. Added to that is the land value of $565,510, $2,165,913. Beyond that, we have the storage warehouse. Again, this is the occupancy description. And the building description on page 29, and beyond that is the income and expense information that we used in this report. And I'm open for questions.
Arif, questions?
Yeah, just a couple. So this is located in the St. James Industrial Market, correct?
Correct.
So the last 2 properties that we did were also in the St. James Industrial Market. And we utilized a vacancy rate of 7%, even though there was hardly any vacancy in those other 2 properties. Is that correct?
In those properties, there wasn't as big a vacancy issue, but you can see in this property that there's a substantial amount of vacant space. And because it's a large quantity, we've accounted for additional vacancy.
Okay, and are they advertising the space out currently? Or at the time were they advertising?
I didn't find any advertisements in terms of Google searches, and for current stuff, I can't. And again, if it's beyond April 21, we can't really give you that information.
So if they're not advertising, would that not constitute a higher vacancy? It's just because they're not advertising?
I wouldn't say that any knowledgeable property owner would knowingly keep their space vacant. I just can't confirm whether it was advertised.
I think those are all the questions I have. Thank you.
Diane?
I do not have any questions. Thank you.
Jerry?
I missed what cap rate you were using on this one. Sorry.
7%.
Okay, thank you. That's all I had.
Let me go back to your page 23.
Yeah, I'm on it.
Okay, 1392 square feet. Market rent would be 9. But you got it at 0. Is it because it's vacant?
Yes.
And that's is that the higher ceiling or the 7-foot ceiling? Or 12-foot ceiling, I'm sorry.
I'm going to go into the description. So it is the newer section,
Which is
with the 12-foot ceiling.
12.
Yeah.
The same thing was 84.89. The $7 rent,
Yes.
that's in the new section.
No. Yes. Sorry. Yes.
And again, it's vacant.
Yeah.
That's 12-foot. 12-foot ceiling. 18,000 square feet. That's the older building.
Yes.
And that's got what height ceiling is that?
17.
17.
Yeah.
A little better.
And I will note that I didn't even notice in the picture that I saw. I mean, you can see the picture there on page 7. So we've answered the question of whether it was being advertised.
Collier sign is up front. 3120 is in the older one.
Yes, yeah.
Okay, so usually your smaller spaces are a higher rent. Why do you have this one at 604?
604 is the actual rent.
That's the actual rent.
Yeah.
And that 675 is the actual rent.
Yeah, you can see that the lease and start date on page 12.
So when you're taking your market rent into account, you're actually saying you're using the actual rents that are available to come up to that 217, correct?
Yes.
Then you're taking the 15% off for
Yes.
the 2019, 2020.
Yeah.
Now, when they filled out their paper for the COVID, the assessor had said that they said it had no ramifications, yet they had said they had closed it down to the public. You know which portion was closed to the public at that time?
I
And
do
why it did not have an effect on the,
I do not. I'm sorry, I can't answer that.
just, they seem to check off one box and then they say there's no impact.
Yeah. I'll note though that the vacancy started before COVID.
Yeah, just,
Yeah.
And they've been empty ever since,
Yeah, no,
and they are advertised. And your 7% cap rate.
somewhere in between.
Hmm?
Somewhere in between. It's not at the top of the class B, but it's not at the bottom.
So you,
Again, we note that it's an older building. It's got lower wall heights, and in terms of the land to plan area, it's under 2. So I think we're being reasonable at 7.
the lower wall heights are taken into account with the rents. Usually,
Absolutely, absolutely.
these are smaller spaces.
Yeah.
A smaller addition.
Well, what we would say is that in the open market, you might find a specific buyer looking for something like that, but most who are looking for warehouse space are looking for higher wall heights. So,
But this being flex,
yeah, it has many uses.
it had many uses.
Yeah.
And it fits well with the area.
It does. And again, we're not acknowledging that it's the worst property there. We're simply saying that it's not the best type of property. And, again, that's also the reasoning for wanting to look at the cost approach to see where that comes out.
So where's our biggest difference between you and the city? It seems to be on that
So
the shortfall, the management 5 and 2.
Well, there's
And then
the vacancy, and also in terms of the cap rate where they're at 6.15 and we're at 7.
yeah, so it's the vacancy, the caps. So it's all 3 actually.
Not the rent.
Yeah, not the rent, you guys are pretty close on.
Yeah.
You're at 217 and they were at 208. You were higher. Right?
Yeah.
In summation, Arif,
I'm good, thank you.
you're good. Marcello, you're good.
I'm good.
Thank you. I do believe we've heard all the items scheduled at this hearing, and this meeting is now adjourned.